viewer Nick Volga suggested making a video about the lower league football scene in Russia. So, let's do it! The city of Miass in Chelyabinsk region seemed as good a place as any to choose, and there's a match here taking place this afternoon. So in the meantime we can stroll around the city and perhaps try and find anything sport or football related. There's a stadium here in the north of the city, clearly old school. Look, it's still got the old school goals, floodlights. It's being renovated, probably needs a renovation in fairness, so can't actually go in. That's actually one of the cool things about the stadiums in Russia. Apart from the real sort of elite ones, pretty much all the others are accessible. So you see there they're putting in new seats. The last ones probably got rotted a long time ago. They're probably made of wood in the first place. The stadiums here were built for the people, if you see, whereas in many other places the stadiums were built privately just for the football clubs. Also, unlike in many countries where the football stadiums are located in horrible places, in Russia a lot of the stadiums are located in parks and near forests. Wow, that's kind of cool. You wouldn't necessarily expect to find a beach volleyball court in a little industrial town in the Urals. That looks like a little stadium to me. I get the impression it's not functioning anymore. But the advantage of being tall like me is that you can still see just by putting the camera over the fence. One thing I like about the old stadiums is just how far the floodlights are from the stadium itself. Look how far away that is. Right outside the football stadium you have, or had, an ice hockey rink. Now, seeing as how today I'm trying to please my viewers instead of upsetting them for a change, one of you guys once asked about these pipes going around, and I've just come across this one. So you see these pipes, they're, you know, in places where people don't live, because obviously they're a bit of an eyesore for starters, and also stops people crossing roads and things like that. So they're in places like this. For any of you guys who just tuned in for the football, I'm sorry that there's not been much of that so far, but I am heading to the stadium now. Actually, the pipe situation is getting quite interesting. They've got one going over the road there, another one here over that road, sort of twisting and turning. Kind of interesting by pipe standards. Actually, not for the first time. I made a bit of a fool out of myself, didn't I, when I was saying earlier about how stadiums in Russia are in nicer locations. This Labour stadium in Miass is in a terrible place. So I just mentioned that the stadium is called Labour, and that's kind of typical because during the Soviet period the stadiums had names like that. Stadium of Labour, Stadium for the Metal Workers, Stadium of Victory, things like that. This here is the ticket office. I've arrived a bit early, so it's not actually open yet. Here's the flyer for today's match. As you can see, if you read Russian, it's the local team playing against the team from, Lenin's hometown, Ulianovsk. Okay, so here's the league table in a highly unlikely event that any of you actually care. In 8th position is the home side, and in the 3rd place is the away side. This city is black and white. Damn, normally lower league football matches in Russia are free, but here they're being a bit cheeky. They're charging an entrance fee. Okay, it's only 150 rubles, like £1.50, so it's not the end of the world, but still. So the team of the city are called Torpedo, or Torpedo in English. And you might have heard, if you're a real football anorak and of a certain age, you might have heard of Torpedo Moscow, because they were one of the top teams and represented Russia in European competitions in the late 80s and early 90s. In fact, I think they even played against Manchester United, but I mean, I'm going purely by memory, I might be wrong there. So that's the more famous Torpedo Moscow, and this is Torpedo Miass, which you've probably never heard of until today. So you've got the training pitch here right outside the main stadium. Church as well in the background, so fans can come and pray for a home win. One good thing about getting here early, I've been allowed to sort of come to an area that's kind of out of bounds, because look at this, the original entrance to the stadium. I mean, that's got to be from the 1950s. At least you still get the old school type tickets. That's sort of dying out now, isn't it? I guess with online ticketing and tickets on the phones, things like that. Here's the stadium. The pitch is clearly AstroTurf, but these days, you know, the AstroTurf is really advanced, and I think most of the stadiums in Russia have what they call like an all-weather surface. Grass just doesn't cut it in this climate. In fact, apart from me, does anyone actually still call it AstroTurf anymore? So it's about 20 minutes before kick-off. The players are out having a warm-up, obviously. Don't see anything at ground level, so I'll try and go as high up as I can. Get a better view. In fact, there seems to be a flag there that someone's put up supporting the home side. A gentleman there seemingly wearing the scarf. A couple of gentlemen reading the matchday programme as well. I didn't see it advertised, and I didn't see anywhere to buy it, but I think you can get it when you buy a ticket. In fact, if those chaps are pensioners, I think they get it for free. In Russia, you've got the Premier League, the main league, and then you've got the second division, and that's all simple. But then all of a sudden things start getting complicated. From the third division onwards, I guess because Russia's so big, it's broken up into at least 5 divisions. If the idea of breaking the third division into 5 separate divisions is to cut down on travelling time for the away team, well then it's not really worked here, has it? Ulianovsk, where the away team's from, is about, now I'm not exaggerating, like 1,000 kilometres away. Outside the top division in Russia, it's very rare to find stadiums with stands on each side. It's normally just one stand like this stadium, possibly 2. Although this is kind of cool. There's sort of like, I certainly tried to make it nice by putting birch trees all around. I tell you something, there's some pretty nasty dark grey clouds up there. And basically, in Russia, the stadiums are so open that if it rains, tough luck, you get wet. Compared to countries like Britain or Germany, for example, with quite advanced non-league scenes, let alone lower league scenes, it's quite basic here in Russia. To be honest, the lower leagues, it is a bit more like what we'd call non-league. The players are professionals. It is a professional league, the third division, but it's kind of more like an amateur league, really. At a guess, I'd say there's about 400 people here. Oh, seems like the away team have just scored. I think that guy's singing by himself there, isn't he? It seemed like Torpedo were going to get an instant reply there. Goal! Oh, damn! Flags up, offside. So Torpedo responded well to conceding an early goal. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy the match, and I'll leave you guys with a collection of some of the best old school stadiums I've been to in Russia and the neighbouring countries.